Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Breaking Barriers. We are here today with a very special guest. We have Ryan Basor from the Redemption Foundation. And you can check out his website at the redemptionfoundation.org. You're going to be very surprised by some of the powerful things that they are doing to help restore our community. So you're here with Larry Braxton,
Hello, everyone.
myself, Angelina, and Ryan. Ryan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Angelina. They're excited.
All right, so we're just going to jump right into this. We did a little background, and Ryan was you were one of the first to get into the medical marijuana cultivation business in Michigan. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was one of the first patients and caregivers back in 2009 after the citizens voted to pass the MMA, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, allowing for medical marijuana. And I've used cannabis for a condition since I was in my teens that I had to hide. I was prescribed 3 Flexerals a day when I was 12 years old, and discovered cannabis, did what I needed to um, without the side effects, the bad side effects, anyways. And so I've
That's a
been a
good point.
proponent, kind of like understanding why marijuana was made illegal, why it's a Schedule One. I knew all that when I was 14, kind of a conspiracy theorist. They thought I was back then, but it's all come true now. So I feel good about it. But yeah, I've been doing it a long time, very passionate about its medical benefits.
Okay, so before we get to the commissary program, how do you so at 14 you start becoming passionate? You had, those things that led you to how did you find marijuana was a tool to help you? How did you find that?
So I grew up in a little town called Dansville. It's southeast of Lansing, and on a farm. And I fell off a tractor and screwed up my hips and back, and that's when I got
Oh,
prescribed it. But my cousin introduced me to it about a year later, and then saw what that was doing to me, the muscle relaxers, and he said you got to try this. So I tried it. This is the late '80s in a small town. 13 years old, can't exactly be smoking joints running around. So I had to hide it completely, even as I ended up being valedictorian and, went on to play a little small college sports, but the whole time I was smoking weed.
Okay, so what gave you the idea? I'm going to cultivate and become a caregiver. You just
It was a dream. I'd always, seen greenhouse and say someday we're going to be growing in this. This is it. I was in finance, commercial insurance, was doing well, but like I wasn't happy with it. I felt like there's always going to be more meaning in my life, and I wanted to do
Mhm.
something, and I wanted to see cannabis made legal. And once we had that opportunity, like I've always been able to take risks, and I just decided like, hey, I want to do something that makes me feel good and I'm proud of, and have a meaningful existence on Earth and in this lifetime, and I went for it, and yeah,
Ex-
and
that's a great point. Taking risk, and then that
yeah,
feeling to want to help. That's kind of why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah.
yeah.
exactly. And just to give you a little bit of background, we both are justice impacted.
Yeah.
My husband spent time in federal prison, but it's been almost 30 years
Yeah.
since he's been out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And exactly. So we do understand some of the challenges, with the federal regulation versus the state regulation. So, because I have a brother is also
In the state.
incarcerated in the state facilities, and it's so different. It's contrast. It's a contrast. But what one of the challenges, because we thought about becoming caregivers around 2013. That's what's so crazy. Larry and I. But obviously, he already had a felony. You know, he had a record,
Yeah.
so he no chance for him. How do you get into the industry after getting like you're cultivating legally? You become a caregiver, but the federal government decide that the state law doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember this so vividly. So it was, you know, it was right around the time, right after Obama got elected and Attorney General Holder, they came on the news or 60 Minutes, one of the shows, and said, hey, if you're following state law in a medical state, we're not going to bother you. And that's when like
Right.
Colorado exploded in California. So me being a naive 32-year-old thinking that, oh, the president said it on TV, it must be true. So I went, and that's when I really jumped in. And a suburb of Lansing in Okemos, I found a warehouse landlord, say, hey, like I'd like to do this with you. I got some other people to help, and we got the state police to walk through and approve it. We got Union County Prosecutor Stuart Dunnings at the time to approve it, and Police Chief David Hall from Meridian Township all approved it. We were off and running, and it was great. It was amazing. And then later that year, December 1st, 2010, we got raided by those at the Grow for the same state police. It was the DEA, the FBI, the ATF, and actually it was right when Granholm was on her way out. She called in, allowed the National Guard, the military, to do the raid. So we got raided by the military in Okemos, Michigan, if people know where that's at, in the suburbs, and it was pretty wild. Situation. I went on the news the next day, Channel 6, told everyone to get effed, and then that just created for about 2 years. I got followed by blackout helicopters every day, get pulled over by the cops off the record, kind of shaken down. They would
Oh,
send a Chinook with the
Mm-hmm.
double helicopter,
Mm-hmm.
the big ones, over my house. I lived out in Weberville once a quarter, just hover there for 30 minutes at a time, and then I got raided really bad in 12. This was all going on for a couple of years. The way the feds work, it
Mm-hmm.
takes
Oh
time.
yeah.
And I just remember coming out of my basement and I was all dotted up with the red lasers on me, and like, hey, like they knew I was just a, you know, uh, calm guy. I didn't have guns.
Mm-hmm.
They knew I
right.
wasn't violent. I was, basically said, no, I need to speak to my attorney. And they tore my house up for five hours, and then I knew I was getting indicted after that. I
Mm-hmm.
got indicted about a week
Mm-hmm.
later.
So
And the reason it happened still in 2014, Rohrabacher Farr was passed in Congress, defunding the DEA in any medical state. So that's what stopped the federal raids on the medical marijuana. It happened in 14, but I was in federal prison when it happened. I just
Wow, that's
missed
good
it.
information.
that is good. So I didn't
Yeah.
know that. So they've defunded.
Yep.
Wow.
Those
All
are
those
some of the
states are
benefits of
defunding the
defunding.
$1. Yeah, yeah. So like they can't change the law. The DA didn't want it. Well, how about we just give you $1 for it, and you guys blew your budget walking in the door. So
Oh, wow. So then fast forward, you do your time, and I know you're upset because how do you
yeah.
reconcile that? How do you do that time?
Well, I was going in, and I knew like I was going to be in cannabis forever. I knew what was happening. I was like, I have this really intense situation happening to me. It's happening. You can't stop it. And
Right.
I just decided to lean into it, kind of make it use, almost like jujitsu, like you use the momentum for you. So I went into prison, and I was a machine. I did everything I said I was going to do every day. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life. I was phenomenal. I read hundreds of books, trained myself, and started really talking to a lot of the guys that were in there that were in business or had done branding, and then also just reading. And then I did the behavior modification program in there, which is pretty wild. I got tons of stories on that, and I got a year off the sentence. So I did 3 of the 4 years and got back out to the halfway house. But I just quickly realized being angry doesn't help anybody but them, and one day at a time, you just put the foot in front of the other, and you grind and you hit your goals each day, and eventually that it's like chipping away at a huge rock. But once you break it and you get momentum going the other way, it's pretty amazing. So I don't take that for granted, any day.
That's remarkable. That's such a tribute to your character and your personality.
Mm-hmm.
The way you carried yourself kept you on a real path that you could map out.
He was focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Felt like if I
Ryan,
was getting worse in prison, I would go crazy. But if I was making myself better, I could do the
mm-hmm.
time a lot better.
I say the same thing. Prison can either be your worst nightmare or your best dream because you can have time to
Yep.
regroup, like you say, energize, get your body in shape, which kind of transforms your mind. And
Yep.
yeah, and you can meet decent. It's decent people there, like everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, Ryan, I wanted to piggyback off of the momentum. You were talking about getting that momentum, that positive momentum and
Yeah,
starting that,
positive. Yeah.
building on it. So, when you came home, did you already have a business plan, a model? Did you know exactly what you were going to do, or did you evolve? Did it evolve?
I I got out and I was this was in 16, and I was helping lawyers that were in marijuana businesses, dispensaries. I was doing their social media and SEO at the time. I'd stay up all night. I read books about it, the how to learn build websites in prison. But I would get home from I started getting home confinement. I'd stay up all night and I trained myself on YouTube how to do this, and I just hustled and started making a decent living consulting. But I couldn't get back in the industry because the legislatures passed the MMFLA 16, and they excluded marijuana felons and misdemeanors. And, I was just became a consultant. So I got no way to get in the industry. What we do, we wrote Prop 1. I was one of the authors of it. My part was that marijuana felons, criminals
Wow.
that that the ability to get this not only can participate but get breaks. And then I collected a ton of money. We collected 3.5 million, and we
Wow.
got 350,000 signatures, and the rest was history. We passed it in 18, and then 19. That's when my business plan was to start with the brands. I came out of prison broke, but I'd done well with just getting back on my feet and just networking, and I had an idea, and then I was the second white label brand in Michigan 6 years ago. Back when prices were really high and people were just getting going, and people were like, "Why would we have a brand? Why, we can sell our bulk flower for four
Mm-hmm.
thousand." And I'm like, "Well, watch America. This is how it goes. You need a
Mm-hmm.
brand." And now that bulk flower is going for $400. So that was it. And at the same time, yeah, and then got the foundation going at the same time.
So now you have your flower, and what's the name of your flower?
It's Redemption Cannabis. We are top 10 brand in Michigan now. It's the most competitive state in the country, maybe the world. I eventually merged with a partner that I met in 2010 when I was traveling the state, organizing like compassion centers and caregivers to kind of build up a pool as Bill Schuette got elected and started attacking us. So
Mm-hmm.
I met him, great business guy. We ended up merging, and we have a lot of different SKUs. We have cards, concentrates, pre rolls, joints, and then we also have licensing agreements with Two Leaf and Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and then soon to be
Wow.
Ohio. So we're in a few other states as well.
Okay, because you said you're soon to be Ohio. You guys are in the
Yeah,
process.
we're all ready to go. We're waiting on the final state approval of the packaging, but Ohio's a little bit slow on that, and departments run by I think some ex DEA maybe that aren't as
Okay.
we
They're a
take it
little
anyway a
torn.
little while.
They'll be
Yeah.
dragging their
So it's
feet.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. The dichotomy of all of this
Mm-hmm.
industry emerging from both sides and working together. But it's good to healing. Like people can say, I'm around people that have been in the way that they're in marijuana, like, oh, that's the police and all this and that. But like, hey, there's a lot of police that are like, like never thought it should have been illegal. And you
Yeah.
want
Exactly.
people, even if they were prosecuting people, like you want
Mm-hmm.
people to say, "Hey, I was wrong." Like this, that's part of the change. People are allowed
Right.
to make mistakes if that's the goal,
Yes.
is to change hearts and minds. So I try to integrate and show that I'm a good guy, and just I got a couple of young kids, talk to family, just that's the goal. Continue, change perception, and obviously it's changed a lot in the last
Yeah.
17 years since I got rated.
Yes,
You're a great
a whole lot.
representative.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Now you see what are they? Dispensaries next door to one another. I mean, across the street. I mean, it's like it's going to be so amazing when my brother comes home and see what reality looks like. I can't wait to
Yeah,
see. Like, wow, you can just walk in and buy marijuana. I'm like, yes.
And now people are focusing more so on the medical benefits and the good it can actually do.
Yeah, and
So that's a great thing.
the holistic
Yeah, the
benefits,
holistic side of it,
It's
which
a
they used to
yeah.
plant.
try to downplay.
It did, and in 2010, I got into it, and I knew it helped me. But there's something called Rick Simpson oil. It's concentrated cannabis oil, and that's the stuff I saw. It stopped a little girl's seizure, and I was 9 years old. But then we had a dispensary in 2010. That was the height of that, the top of the opiate crisis in this country.
Right.
And, we would just see so many people coming in addicted and taking 20 pills a day, and we started getting them. Like, so many people got off of opiates, and then it's been cool to see. My dad lost his leg. It was cool to see him get off opiates immediately, and the nurses didn't know what's
Wow.
going on,
Yeah.
to the point where from this little town called Dansville, now all the old farmers around RSO and the Balm, and they were. People talked a lot of stuff about, kind of smack about me when I went in. What's Ryan doing? Had a bright career. Like, what an idiot! But like now they're like, they tell me they thought that, and then they apologize. But like that's part of it. It's part of making
Yeah.
it through
It's
through all this stuff.
amazing. So, Ryan, is your dad still utilizing um, the medical marijuana derivative? Is it still helping
Yeah,
him?
it helps them. It helps them sleep. It also helps with pain, but also, like especially my mom, the balm, like, the actual cannabis THC CBD balms. My mom's been using that for years now. All her friends, and it's they all use it. So it's fun to see the acceptance. It's just like delayed gratification, I guess you'd call it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But and where is the product? Where are your products available?
Well, in Michigan, we're in about 350 dispensaries.
Okay.
So, like, you can go to our Redemption Canada website. We got a store locator, or you can Google it if you're around you and find out. But we're in a lot of stores. We're real tight with the stores that we're in. We're just about selling everything out. So
Okay.
we're not going to pick up too many new stores until we have more supply and see that. So.
I'm sure you guys do a lot of research. Have you found any benefits to, say, depression?
Me personally, I feel like I have,
Hmm.
and I know people use it.
Mm-hmm.
At that, along with exercise and eating healthy and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, it does.
It all
It
works
helps. It
together.
helps. It all works together. If you can take a pill for so many things to feel better, anxiety, pain, allergies, you name it, and that's all medicine. So if marijuana, recreational marijuana makes you feel better about yourself and live a better life, or even gets you to stop drinking or something, alcohol, well then, that's medicine to me. So I kind of look at it like that. If it's going to make your life better, more positive. I've seen a lot of people that have major drinking problems quit and only use weed, and they're
Awesome.
super fulfilling lives now with their families and their job.
Yeah.
Now, have you? This is serious because I haven't, and but I don't know. Have you ever seen a person addicted to marijuana?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never seen anyone have any side effects from getting off it. I used cannabis for 20 straight years and had to
Mm-hmm.
stop for five,
Mm-hmm.
and I was done like that. Now, I wanted to use
Exactly.
it. It made me feel good. So, in order to get, I started when Larry knows, when you're in prison, like, I started getting that endorphin high from exercising. It's kind of a good way, but you can do all that. I've never seen, they came out recently. It's this whole campaign. You hear about it, like the
Mm-hmm.
sprouting, where people are throwing up from it. Never, I've been around people smoking weed forever, and I've never heard of
Yes.
that. Like, I've
Me
never
either.
heard of that
That
once.
was that
Not,
was a great question because I had a
yeah.
pulmonary embolism back in 2014, and my doctors
Mhm.
advised me to stop smoking. At the time, I
Yeah.
was a marijuana smoker, a daily marijuana smoker. I haven't
Mhm.
smoked since then, and
Yeah.
I didn't have any side effects, any withdrawal, any
Nothing.
attitude, or any changes whatsoever. It just like you say, just stopped. And I used to
Yeah.
smoke cigars. I stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I
exactly.
I
Exactly.
just wondered about that. So the other thing, so a person can just come and they can go into any dispensary and ask for
Redemption.
Redemption brand medical
Yeah.
marijuana or
Yeah. I mean,
Redemption
we're
brand.
pretty much under Redemption brand. It's mostly rec now in the state because the licenses
Yeah,
are
it's
cheaper.
already.
Yeah, there's some medical, but yeah, I mean, you need to see that we're in half the dispensaries that are open in the state. So like you might, we're basically in every region. We're in every region,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt, in every city pretty much. So not everybody's. There's stores I still want to be in. That'd be great partners, but then there's stores that don't pay their bills either. So we're not going to be in those
Exactly.
stores.
I hear you. But
Uh,
it's a good thing
it's
about
awesome. Yeah.
being in there because if a person purchases that brand, then they support.
Yep,
That's what I don't
exactly.
think
Support the
people know
program,
that they're
right?
supporting the
Yeah,
program.
exactly. Every purchase, a little small part of it goes out, and like, if you don't mind, mind if I speak a little bit about the commissary program
Yes,
Please.
and
please.
and
Yes.
me. So that period between 2010 and 12, that's when Bill Schuette got elected and was started targeting Bill Schuette on duty, and he was going after the caregivers and patients and trying to basically change the voter initiated law by having court cases that set case precedent. So we were going around raising money and fighting these cases for people. A lot of these were CPS cases, kids, parents get their kids taken away. The
Yeah.
civil asset forfeiture law back then, we were number 50 out of 50th for the worst forfeiture law in the country. We got that changed in 19, worked hard on that too, and that stopped a lot of the forfeitures in Michigan, especially for weed. So now we're one of the better states for it. So we raised a lot of money and got used to doing that. And when I got out of prison, I wanted to continue to help people, but I didn't want to keep asking people for money. I wanted to be able to, have a fund it. So 10% of my licensing fees from day one have gone to the Redemption Foundation. And, we've given away over $1 million so far in the 5 years. And, it's mostly funded by my business. So we get other donations and we're 501c3, that's separate, but we
Mm.
do two things. We've done grants. We've expunged over 200 marijuana records in Michigan free of charge. We've done a lot of reentry grants, people getting out of prison for and helping them. We fund other groups. Michael Thompson Clemency Project. He helps get people out of prison. Forced to Troy is a reentry program. So just working with, and now we're working with a lot of groups that help with the children who've been incarcerated. We just donated a $5,000 grant to Swan, who it's for people, it's for kids who have parents that are incarcerated, and they free music lessons, teach them an instrument, and come to the community support. So we're doing a lot with that. And that's great. And really proud of that work. But the commissary program is near and dear to me because when I was in there, and hey, $300 is the limit you can spend a month, and for some people that might not sound like a lot, but if you're spending 300 a month in prison, you're balling out.
You're balling.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're balling, And I was lucky enough to have a great support system. My family, I just put a little bit of money aside, and also had friends and got money put on my books. And I spent $300 every month. But my first job in there was you have to work if you're able bodies, and had to wash one of my units, clean the bathroom, which included the showers and the toilets. It's pretty
Mm.
gross, and I
Yeah.
made $14.
Really
Made fourteen
gross.
dollars a month. So $14 a month doesn't go along with the phone minutes at the time in the federal costing 50 cents. There's a racket. Email minutes cost dime stamps. But then the cafeteria I was at was said not for human consumption on a lot of the packaging because if the administrator that ran the cafeteria or the food would buy super old stuff at a discount, and if he went under his budget for the year, he would get bonuses. So
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
thought that. But what it does is, allows you to live normal. You need a new pair of shoes, medical supplies, have some cookups, all that stuff. And,
Yeah.
and I thought about what could I do that help people that went through what I did and have a significant impact, was commissary account. So, it's because right now I saw people, it's just so much better, a way to do your bid. It's a lot more comfortable because I saw guys that needed something, legitimately needed something for back home, or needed something and they couldn't get on the medical, with the doctor denied it. They needed it, whatever. They borrowed money and they can't pay it back. There's two options. They either, there's a beat down or you're going and checking yourself in the shoe.
Yeah.
Solitary confinement. Both of those are horrible ways to do your bid. So
Terrible.
for the past 2.5 years, we've been helping 187, we're up to now, federal cannabis prisoners that are still in
Beautiful.
there. We've been putting between $10,000 and $20,000 a month on their books. So,
Remarkable.
that's it's very focused. So that's the deal. It's making a difference. It's People are getting out now, and it's cool to see they're getting out faster. It's starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is for them to all get out, and I have to do that, and then really switch to
Yeah.
reentry services and getting back on their feet, because this is going to, there's going to be generational damage from the war. I'm very specific, obviously, with my
Definitely.
deal. Obviously, war on drugs, but war on
Mm-hmm.
marijuana per se too. For after
Yes.
I'm gone, so like we'd like to evolve and continue to help and continue doing what we're doing.
So, how can the people help you, Ryan? What can we do to support?
I mean, really, you could buy Redemption Cannabis, like I said, or you could, there's always at our website,
Donations. Be-
www.redemptionfoundation.org, there's donations. I mean, and for us, the cool thing is we have an executive director now. We've been mostly volunteer with the board, very lean, and I take a lot of pride in this because I cover with the business all our expenses. So when we get money from other people, 100% of it goes right back out. So we're getting about a $10,000 grant from Truly this at the end of July. They're gonna they did a roundup program, so $10,000 is going to go straight to the cannabis business books. So in the day of age of people maybe not trusting, nonprofits as much as they used to. I remember when I found out
Yeah.
the Salvation Army or Red
mm-hmm.
Cross, like CEOs making $1 million and 30,
Yeah,
30 cents
exactly.
to
Mm-hmm.
help, like that means a lot. Hey, if people want to help, I want people to be able to help, and we can just be a conduit for it.
Excellent. Well, Ryan, we're going to be respectful of your time. That was amazing, and we're sure
Amazing.
people will support you. We definitely know people are supporting cannabis businesses,
Yeah.
so we just
Yeah,
need them to
yeah.
support.